Hey traders, and welcome to the trading channel. It is my pleasure to bring you another advanced pattern watch list training video. In this video, we'll be discussing some trading opportunities that I'm looking to take advantage of throughout the rest of today and throughout the remainder of this week, along with some advanced pattern trades that we have already taken advantage of and that have already hit profits. We'll be discussing the rules and ratios that I use for each of these patterns, and we'll also talk about how I place stops and targets on these advanced pattern trades. Now, if you're interested in learning even more about advanced patterns, then I'm excited to announce that I'm coming out with a new training program that will be completely focused on advanced patterns. If you're interested in that, then make sure to stick around to the end of the video and we'll talk a little more about that program. If you'd like to get faster alerts of when I'm coming out with these free educational videos here on YouTube, or if you'd like to connect with me or message me about advanced patterns, then make sure to head over to my Facebook page at thetradingchannel.net and like that page for those alerts, and message me if you have any questions about advanced patterns or general Forex education. And I also currently run an educational service for my website called the EAP, where I teach traders exactly how I do structure-based analysis and the entry reasons that I use on a daily basis in the Forex market. So if you're interested in any of those, then you can type in what you see on your screen in your browser, or there will be a link in the description below this video for each of those. Now, the remainder of this video will only be about advanced patterns and the rules and ratios that I use to trade these patterns. So let's go ahead and get the intro and disclaimer out of the way, and I'll be right back to share some of these advanced pattern trades with you guys. Alright traders, so we're going to start today's video out on the pound-dollar hourly chart with an advanced cipher pattern that we're currently involved in. So let's check out our entry on that trade. Alright guys, so here on the pound-dollar, we actually had a pretty nice cipher pattern set up here on the hourly chart, and we've just got involved in that at a little better than our original entry, which would have been here around the 786 retracement. So instead of that, I didn't catch this until a little bit higher, and I was able to get a better entry up closer to the 886 retracement. So let's go ahead and draw this pattern out. Here we have X to A, our impulsive move that broke through our previous level of structure, A to B with the extension, and B up to C at that 786, but as I said, we got involved closer to that 886 retracement. Now let's go ahead and check out targets. So we pull up to that entry point, put on our target taking tool, and take our targets at the 382 with a stop loss above our previous level of structure, which is going to be 43 pips on that stop loss. So because we were able to get involved in this cipher pattern at a little bit better of an entry, we actually gave ourselves a much better risk reward. If you trade the cipher pattern, normally you get an inverted risk reward using this pattern. And what I mean by inverted, if you're new to trading, is that you will have less than a 1-to-1 risk reward. For instance, you'll be risking 44 pips to make 39, 38, or making less pips on your target than you're risking on your stop loss. But because we were able to get involved in this cipher pattern a little bit later, we actually now have a better risk reward at a 1.4 to 1. So I'll keep you guys updated as this trade plays out, and hopefully we'll push down from this cipher pattern entry and at least clip our first targets here at the 382 retracement. Here on the Aussie Canada, we have another advanced pattern that came in way of a bat pattern that has already hit targets. So go ahead and see if you can spot this pattern before I draw it out. Did you use this as your impulsive move, followed by the 50% retracement, which is what we need for the bat pattern? From X to A down to B needs to be a 50% retracement, followed by at least a 382 retracement that does not cross back above A, and then followed by our 886 retracement for the entry, which is exactly what we got. So if I bring on my fibs here, you can see that the market came right down to that 886 retracement. And if I bring the other set of fibs on for my targets, and as you can see in the next 1 hour candle, the market came up to hit the first target at 382 and second targets at 61.8% of the total move from A down to D. Alright, so now let's look at a couple of other advanced patterns that are on my radar on the 1 hour, 4 hour, and daily charts, along with a few more advanced patterns that we've been involved in over the past couple of days. Alright guys, so here on the Euro Aussie 1 hour chart, we have another good example of an advanced pattern. And what I'm going to do is let you see if you can spot this pattern before I draw it in. This advanced pattern is called a cipher pattern. So let's take a look at some of our ratios here for the cipher pattern. If we pull from an impulsive move here, X down to A. And let me change the color of that to make it easier to see. If we pull from that move, what we're looking for is A to B retracement. This first retracement here to be at least 382, but not close above the 618 retracement. So let's see if we get that first. Pulling a retracement down. As you can see, we get a 50% retracement here without closing above 618. So our first condition is met. And I'm just going to go ahead and remove this fib for you guys. Next, we're looking for an extension of that same move. So we go from our X down to our A with an extension tool. Then we pull back up to X. And as you can see, we're looking for that 127 extension to be touched without closing below the 1414 extension. Do we get that rule met? Yes, we do. So now that those two conditions are met, I know the last thing I'm looking for is a 786 retracement from X all the way down to C. And once I get that 786 retracement, that is my entry for the way I trade this advanced pattern. So if we draw that in with our triangle tool, that pattern looks something like this. And as you can see, we've already been filled on this specific order. So our target and stop loss would look something like this. For the target, I take a Fibonacci retracement from C up to D. If I bring on the short position tool, my target is going to be at 382 retracement, and my stop loss is going to be above X. So we have something like a 1-to-1 risk reward here on this specific trade. And I'll keep you guys updated throughout the video to let you know how this trade plays out if I don't upload the video before this trade either gets stopped out or hits targets. Alright, so let's take a look at a few more advanced pattern trades and get you a little more accustomed to spotting these patterns. Here on the Euro Canada, we had another 2-target winning bat pattern, and I'm going to let you guys see if you can spot that before I draw it in. If I zoom in pretty close to this area of consolidation here, you should be able to see it quite easily. Using this as our impulsive move, coming down, we're taking a retracement, and as we talked about earlier in the other bat pattern, our first retracement needs to be 50%, followed by the second retracement, which is from this leg down here, our A point up to B. That retracement has to be at least 382, but cannot close below A, and that rule was also met. So once those two rules are met, then we set our position tool. Then we set our limit order at the 886 retracement for the way I trade these advanced patterns, and a stop loss above X with a target at a 382 retracement. And as you can see, the bat pattern can produce a little more than a 1-to-1 risk reward. And as you can see, using the bat pattern normally produces a little more than a 1-to-1 risk reward on your first targets, which is beneficial, yet it is a little less accurate than our cipher pattern. For me, this pattern performs at a winning ratio between 55 and 65% depending on the year and how I decide to take targets and set stop losses. But for most strategies, when you sacrifice risk to reward, you end up with a higher winning percentage, and when you sacrifice winning percentage, you end up with a little higher risk reward. So it's all about finding the balance between the two when you're testing strategies, even strategies such as advanced patterns. So I got a little ahead of myself here placing targets. Let's go ahead and draw the pattern in. X to A, A to B, B to C, and a CD completion at 886, which was hit and has already hit first and second targets on this move down here. Moving on. Alright, so here on the Euro Yen, we have another example of an advanced cipher pattern, and I'll give you guys a second to see if you can spot it. So for this pattern, our impulsive move comes in from here, from X up to A, looking something like that. And if we take our Fibonacci retracement, you can see that that does hit our 382 retracement, which is our first rule for this pattern. Now for our next rule, what do we need? We need that 127 extension from X up to A and back down. And as you can see, we get that 127 without closing above the 1414, which matches our second rule for this advanced pattern, meaning all we needed was a 786 retracement to get filled on our limit order. And as you can see, we've already been filled and hit targets on this specific trade. So if we draw this pattern in, it looked something like this. And as you can see, the market has already come up and barely touched our 382 retracement. Our orders were a little under that 382 retracement, so those were filled. Now moving on to our next advanced pattern. Alright traders, so if you are an advanced pattern trader and you do trade the cipher pattern, then this is one you will want to look out for throughout the rest of today. We're looking at an X to A leg coming in right here. and go ahead and try to figure out what advanced pattern I'm going to draw in. If we measure our X to A leg, you can see that we get a nice 382 retracement coming in right here, followed by an extension of that leg, which gives us a 127 extension without closing below the red line, our 1414 extension. So with those two factors, now we know that all we're looking for is that 786 to be our entry. And as you can see, we have not quite hit our entry yet, so this is one I will be looking out for throughout the rest of the day. Alright, moving on. And for our last pair of the day, we're going to look at the New Zealand Yen 60-minute chart. Now here's another example of a trade that if you are an advanced pattern trader, you need to have your eye on. Let's go ahead and draw on our impulse leg so you guys can take a guess at what this pattern is going to be. There's our impulsive move. We take a measurement from that impulsive move, X down to A. You can see we get a 382 retracement quite easily. Now if we take an extension from X to A and back up, you can see that we get that 127 without closing below 1414. So that meets the second rule of the cipher pattern. Now that we know we have those rules met, what are we waiting on? That 786 retracement as our entry. So drawing that pattern on, it looks a little something like this. And a really cool thing about this specific pattern here on New Zealand Yen is that it's ending right at this red line you see, and this red line indicates a daily level of resistance. So when you can combine these advanced patterns with higher time frame confluence, such as resistance and support levels, it can make for some really accurate ways to trade. Now that in no way means that this specific pattern is actually going to win, it just increases the probability. So here's another one that I will have my eye on throughout the rest of the day. Alright guys, so next we're going to take a look at some advanced patterns that I plan to take advantage of or that I've already traded on the higher time frames like the 4-hour chart. But before we get into that, I'd like to talk to you guys a little more about the APMP. APMP stands for Advanced Pattern Mentor Program, and that's exactly what this program will be. If you decide to join this program, you'll receive a full training course on advanced patterns that will include my favorite pairs for trading advanced patterns, along with tutorials on how to backtest these patterns so that you can be reassured that you're backtesting them correctly. We'll also be going through some of my personal backtesting results, and I'll be helping you guys set up a spreadsheet for that. Now, along with those tutorials, you'll also be receiving first priority email on advanced patterns, so if you have any questions about advanced patterns, then you can just email me at a specific email address that I'll be sharing once that program comes out. And I'll be getting back to you guys in a timely manner to answer any questions you might have about advanced patterns. Now, in my opinion, the most valuable part of this program is going to be the advanced pattern email watch list. Now, for this watch list, what I'm going to do is send you guys an email 3 to 5 times a week in the morning showing you guys advanced patterns that I plan to take advantage of throughout that day. These patterns will mostly be on a 1-hour and 4-hour time frame. So what I'll do is send out those emails with screenshots of the advanced patterns that I'm going to take advantage of, and I'll also be listing my entry, stop, and target on each of these trades before they take place. Now, just as with all my other programs, that is not meant as a signal service, guys, but I do think that it will definitely help some of you who are struggling to understand advanced patterns to just receive more content containing advanced patterns and to show you exactly how I look at the market and how I identify advanced patterns in my own trading. And for those of you who already have advanced patterns in your trading plan, then I think this will be very beneficial for you because it will be like having another set of eyes on the market in case you have an extremely busy schedule. So if you would like to learn a little more about the APMP, or if you would like to lock in a special discounted rate that I'm offering to the first 100 people to pre-register for that program, then just click the link in the description below this video or type in what you see on your screen, www.thetradingchannel.net/APMP. And again, guys, I do already run a program from my website at thetradingchannel.net. So if you enjoy my teaching style and you would like to get some more personalized and specific trading education, then head to thetradingchannel.net/EAP-subscription or click the link in the description below this video labeled EAP. So now let's go ahead and take a look at some of those higher time frame advanced patterns. Alright, so here on the Pound Aussie higher time frame, the 4-hour chart, this is the same pair where we have a possible advanced cipher pattern down on the hourly that we took a look at earlier, and we actually just took our first targets off from this higher time frame bat pattern. So I'll let you guys see if you can spot that. Our impulsive move is coming from swing high, from swing low up to swing high here. And this first retracement, if we take our Fibonacci tool, comes down and touches that 50% blue line, as you can see there. Our next retracement needs to be from A down to B. Needs to at least be a 382 retracement. And as you can see, that comes up and touches our blue line as well, making that a 50% retracement from A down to B. And next up, we were looking for that 886 retracement to complete this advanced bat pattern. And if we come X to A to B, B to C, and CD completion, that pattern looks like that. If I put my Fibonacci tool on for targets, you can see that we came up to that 382 retracement, took off both targets considering that there was an advanced cipher pattern down on the lower time frame, and now we're looking to short this market if we can get a little push up to the completion of that advanced cipher pattern on the hourly chart. Here on the Euro New Zealand 4-hour chart, we actually have a nice cipher pattern set up coming in. I'll let you guys see if you can spot that. Here we have an impulsive move from X down to A. That is a 382 retracement. As you can see, at least 382. That actually comes up to hit the 50% retracement, but does not close above the 618. Next, we have to pull an extension of that same leg for the cipher pattern. And if we pull that extension, you can see that we do nip that 127 extension there. And with that being the case, I know I'm waiting on my third and final roll, which is a 786 retracement from X down to C. Once I put that on, I'll go ahead and draw out the pattern. X to A to B, B to C, CD retracement up here. And another example of how combining this cipher pattern with a higher time frame confluence can really help the probability of this trade being a win. As you can see, we've just broke below a structure level here on the 4-hour chart, and if I zoom out, you'll see that we also broke and closed below this previous level here, this previous major level of support. So now that we've broke below those two levels, what do we expect? Well, according to my analysis, we expect trend continuation, which would be a pullback no higher than this previous structure resistance, followed by a continuation of this downtrend. And if we zoom the chart out, you can see that there's really no structure looking left here on this 4-hour chart to stop the market from falling. So that gives me a little bit of extra confidence in this trade. Again, trading is not 100%. No matter how many factors are coming together for a specific trade, you will not have a 100% accuracy. This trade could very well come up and blow right through my stop loss and start a new uptrend. But it just gives you a little more accuracy to have a confluence of a downtrend with an advanced pattern, which I'm sure you've heard me say before. If you've been a part of the trading channel for a while, you know that I trade advanced patterns when they are with the trend, such as this one here on the Euro New Zealand 4-hour chart. Alright traders, so that's going to do it for today's video. Don't forget to connect with me through Facebook at thetradingchannel.net. If you made it to the end of the video, then make sure to click that like button. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to be alerted by email whenever I come out with more free educational content on Forex. I wish you guys the best of luck on your advanced pattern trades, and I'll talk to you soon.